They called it Mega Miracles Ministries. A church so big, it looked like a city of its own. Every Sunday, the roads leading there were jammed with cars, buses, motorbikes, and crowds of people all rushing to see miracles. At the center of it all was Pastor Benjamin. He was tall, always smiling, and full of charisma. His followers called him a prophet of God. To outsiders, he was simply a celebrity preacher, living in a mansion, driving the latest cars, and enjoying riches. But behind the pulpit and his white robes, Benjamin hid a terrible secret. His power was not from prayer or fasting. It came from dark practices and lies. One hot afternoon, a new face arrived in town. Her name was Vivian. She was a youth corper, fresh out of university, young and full of life. Her place of assignment was not far from the giant cathedral, so on her first Sunday, she decided to attend. She walked in proudly in her khaki uniform, NYSC cap tilted slightly. Benjamin noticed her immediately. His eyes followed her like a hawk spotting prey. For him, it wasn't just admiration. It was hunger. The next Sunday, Benjamin stood before the massive crowd. His voice dropped low and serious. The Spirit of the Lord has revealed to me 3 daughters in this church. If they do not come to my house for prayers tomorrow, death will visit them within 7 days. The congregation gasped. Mothers cried out. Fear filled the air. Benjamin then called their names. Sister Mary, Sister Betty, and Sister Vivian. The 3 women sat frozen. People rushed to convince them. You must go, oh. The man of God sees clearly. If you don't, your life is at risk. That night, Vivian called her mother and explained everything. Her mother's voice was sharp and firm. Vivian, don't you dare step into that man's house. That is no servant of God. That is a servant of darkness. Pack your bags and come home tomorrow. The Lord will cover you. Vivian obeyed. But the next day, her phone would not stop ringing. Sister Mary and Sister Betty both called her, begging and pleading. What Vivian didn't know was that Mary and Betty were not victims at all. They knew Benjamin's secret. They had seen things. But because of money, fame, and comfort, they chose silence. That night, Benjamin panicked. His so-called power required a sacrifice. Without it, everything he had would collapse. By morning, Sister Betty was gone. Her lifeless body was found at the church gates. The news shook the congregation. Benjamin addressed them with tears streaming down his face. I fasted. I prayed. I interceded for her soul. But the devil was stronger. Betty refused prayers, and now she is gone. But thank God. Vivian has been preserved. The people wept. Some mourned Betty, but many praised Benjamin even more. Vivian, however, was not deceived. After service, a young man approached her. His name was Samuel, Betty's younger brother. His eyes were red with grief, his voice low with anger. My sister told me she was going to Pastor Benjamin's house that night, he said. I even walked her to the gate. But now, he claims she never came. Vivian, something happened in that house. Vivian listened carefully. Together, she and Samuel formed an alliance. If Benjamin was to be exposed, it had to come from within. Weeks later, Benjamin announced again. The enemies are angry because I saved Vivian the last time. The vision has come again. She must come to my house for prayers. Her life is in danger. This time, Vivian nodded in agreement. Benjamin's heart leapt. At last, his plan would succeed. The day came. It was a youth program, and the church auditorium was filled with hundreds of young people. Meanwhile, Samuel, who had joined the media team, prepared his plan. He clipped a tiny camera onto Vivian's shirt, connected it to the church projector. Whatever happened in Benjamin's house would be revealed to everyone in real time. Vivian arrived at the mansion. Sister Mary welcomed her warmly and offered her a drink. Vivian pretended to sip, then acted like she had fainted. Excited, Mary ran to call Benjamin. Together, they carried Vivian into a secret room. The camera showed everything. Strange symbols painted on the walls. Candles arranged in a circle. A hidden altar at the center. Benjamin began chanting strange words over Vivian. But suddenly, Vivian's eyes snapped open. With all her strength, she shoved him away and stood tall. The congregation inside the church screamed as the projector showed the truth. Chaos erupted. People ran for the exits. At that very moment, police sirens wailed. Officers stormed the mansion. Benjamin was arrested, still shouting and denying. Sister Mary broke down quickly, confessing everything. The man of God was nothing but a deceiver. Days later, Samuel met Vivian outside the now abandoned Mega Miracles Ministries. The once crowded cathedral stood empty, its gates chained, its banners torn by the wind. "Thank you," Samuel said softly. "You gave my sister justice. I only wish she had listened before it was too late." Vivian nodded, her heart heavy. She boarded a bus, and as it rolled through the streets, she overheard passengers talking. "A new church has opened. They say the pastor performs great miracles. I'm going next Sunday. My life must change." Vivian sighed, her eyes lingering on another giant billboard with another smiling preacher. And she whispered, "When will people learn that the greatest miracle is not in chasing men, but in praying for themselves?"